the Teach Pitch podcast. We are very excited to be launching a series of interviews for Teach Pitch, a global community of tens of thousands of subscribers from over 205 countries who all have a desire to improve the state of education in this world. And for these interviews, we have selected a number of our subscribers who have achieved great things. And by great, I mean amazing. Think of former presidents, entrepreneurs, fashion designers, hospital builders, non-profit founders, authors, journalists, doctors, etc. And what all our guests have in common is that despite their great success, they've encountered many enormous challenges. So what were these challenges and how did they overcome them? That is what we are going to be talking about here. My name is Aldo de Pap and I'm massively looking forward and very grateful you can join us in this journey. So sit back, relax and download the podcast here. A very warm welcome everyone to yet another episode of the Teach Pitch podcast. Today is March 1st, so happy March 2022. And the world has gone mad. There are just no words for me to properly explain all the things that we are seeing, all the things that we need to digest when you go to social media, when you turn on the news, when you listen to the radio, wherever you go, you are confronted with the fact that Russia is trying to occupy Ukraine and that this is a very tormenting, very inhumane, very dishonest situation. And I cannot be just a bystander and just say, happy days, here's just another episode of a new, interesting person with a profession, like nothing's happened or nothing is happening. So we consciously chose not to do that and to pause and to use our platform to also help the people in Ukraine. Now we're just doing a little bit, I am very aware, but we want to do something. And I think that level of helplessness is what many of us have also been confronted with. Because I don't know about you, but when I am on Instagram or social media, I see these messages of kids who needed to abandon their father, these people who are arriving in Poland or in any other neighboring country of Ukraine besides Russia, and them being completely disoriented, not really knowing what's going to happen, not really knowing where they are, thinking it'll be very temporary, that they can go back home soon, but having such a tremendous uncertainty. And just the other day, I was talking also to my wife, like, can you imagine that we just need to leave our home, a home that we just bought here in Scotland. We just need to leave it, just pack a bag, pick up our 2-year-old daughter, take a train and just go. You know, that idea, that feeling, that level of insecurity, that uncertainty is tremendous. Then I'm not even talking about the atrocities, the violent atrocities that are ongoing, the bombing, the shooting, the civilians that are being hurt, because it's no longer a war between just soldiers, but these are civilians who are being implicated in the conflict. That I'm like, okay, we have gone absolutely mental and we need to do something. And then the last thing that I want to say, and then I'll get to where we would like to be of assistance. But the last thing I want to say is we're all being threatened here. It's not just Ukraine. It's our way of living, the way we choose to live as democracies. That is what's being under threat here. The way we choose to be a country with an elected president, with an elected official at the top that governs our country, that decides for us what we can and cannot do, but only because we've put that person there. That is what Ukraine is. And I think Ukraine is now fighting a country that is not set up in a similar way. So my heart goes out to the people of Ukraine. And to a certain extent, my heart also goes out to the people of Russia, specifically the ones who did not agree with the decisions their president is making at this current moment in time. Because you hear a lot of different Russian sounds, and you see images of Russian people protesting and saying, this is not okay. I did not ask for this. I did not want this. Their economy is being affected. So Russian people who have nothing to do with politics, who just want to pay their bills and get through life month to month, they are being massively implicated as well, having no food, no ability to pay the bills because the ruble has sank and kind of all those things. So those sanctions have implications on real life families. And that's just something that I want everyone to think about. Like, what is happening here? Going to how you can help. So we've called this episode 12 Effective Ways on how to help the people from Ukraine. And what we've done is we've made a short list of organizations that are doing tremendous work and that we know are currently active in or around Ukraine to help as many people as possible. And the organizations we've listed, you might have heard of many of them, are varying from the Red Cross to UNICEF to Save the Children. So there are many organizations that you've heard of. There's also the option to work with organizations who are not as big in scale, but yet very effective. So to give you an example, earlier today, I received an email of Ukrainian people here in Aberdeen who are going to drive up to the Ukrainian-Polish border. And they said, we would like to collect material so we can give that to the people who are arriving. So anything from water bottles that they could use, food like rice or pasta, like dry food that can be prepared there, to sleeping bags, to all those things. So also look around in your direct environment if there are local initiatives that might not directly ask for money, but still have a good initiative to get material and stuff there. And those organizations will then also coordinate with other people in place. And I so admired the email that I received from people here. It says, help in Ukraine. People want to do our bit to help. And then they tell us kind of all the things that are needed. Sanitary pads, tampons, first aid kits, pet foods, baby wet wipes, sleeping bags, yoga sleeping mats, dry food, tourniquets, dressing strips, bandages, protein bars, hot water bottles, flasks. And then they put their mobile number in there. So a big thank you to these people of creating these avenues and helping also other people to help, because that's the least we could do. So if you want to help, then look around locally, look around for initiatives that saying, hey, here's what we're doing, here's where we would like to get material to the Ukrainian border in Poland, or donate money. And you can donate money in a variety of ways. There are crypto initiatives, so it doesn't have to be in your own currency. There, even if you're in the crypto world, you can also help out here. And if you're on Twitter, you can go to a famous influencer in the crypto world who goes by the name of Zeneca, and you can follow him, and he's talking about initiatives on how to help. And if you follow his suggestions there, I'm sure you'll find out kind of also other ways to get involved. And we'll be sure to list it all in our show notes, and we'll be sure to make sure that if you want to help, there are plenty of avenues for you to do so. And so don't feel helpless, get angry, get resilient, get up and start helping those people who very direly need our support. It's the least we can do. Thank you very much for listening in. There's not going to be an official interview for today because I just want to make sure that we focus fully on this. We'll make sure that this podcast is also launched on our blog post and will be sent to all of our users, 60,000 in 205 countries. And we will be speaking about this on social media, hoping that we can do our very, very little bit to help. I am closing the episode here, but I'm not closing before I say that Ukraine, you're on my mind. The people of Ukraine, you're on my mind. Please stay resilient. Please keep on fighting. And thank you very, very much for showing the world how things need to be done. Thank you very much for showing us how we should behave ourselves in these times of utter conflict and crisis. If you liked this episode of the Teach Pitch podcast, then it would mean the absolute world if you could share it with your friends and or give it a short review on your preferred podcast platform. The more you share your ideas about these interviews, the more people will find out about them. So do let us know what you think. We'd be very, very grateful.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod for our beautiful theme music, Le Grand Chase. This podcast was produced and edited by Natalie Piles. Project coordination by Inva Cheney.